Does South Korea have its own form of the Grinch? Because one of its shipping companies is in danger of stealing Christmas. Hanjin Shipping has filed for bankruptcy protection in a Newark, New Jersey court under Chapter 15. This happened on Friday, but now Hanjin ships right now are being turned away from ports globally, including the port of Long Beach, where Hanjin owns a majority stake of the largest terminal. Even with parent company Hanjin Group putting up $19 million to help the troubled shipper, will that be enough to get the ships into port with all of that stuff that needs to be distributed by Christmas? Robert Gray standing by at the port of Long Beach. How bad could this get, Robert?
Well, Liz, it could get really bad. Obviously, you've got ships in limbo around the globe, and as you mentioned, it could put a real crunch on the retailers who are trying to stock up ahead of the holiday season. So we're definitely keeping a close eye on that as we've heard about this $90 million infusion plus cash that the government's going to kick in. And what's really caused all of this, if you take a look at the graphic that we have, it shows the Baltic Dry Index. Basically, it tracks how much shippers are paid to ship commodities. It's fell to a 3-decade low earlier this year, taking the shippers right with it. If you look at the Guggenheim ETF, it's a small ETF, and let's face it, these publicly traded shipping companies are a lot smaller than they were 5-10 years ago, and so many of the others also teetering on bankruptcy and are really in the pink sheets, penny stocks now, if you will. But you can see they follow that gauge right down, and they've bounced off of the lows, but still at historically low levels for both. And to continue the discussion, I'm joined by Noel Hacegaba. He is the Chief Commercial Officer with the Port of Long Beach. And Noel, thank you for joining us. And let's jump right into the $200 million infusion. That ballpark, including what the government's going to kick in, as well as the parent company. How quickly could that affect things? And you said there's one ship offshore here amongst the three that's actually going to come into Long Beach and would be unloading goods right behind us here at their terminal.
Thank you for having us. Obviously, we're monitoring this around the clock, making sure that we're keeping track of all the developments. Hanjin Shipping, over the last 72 hours, has taken two very important steps that could pave the way to allow these ships that are on water to come to berth. One is they filed for Chapter 15, which for them provides the protection and it allows them to mitigate against the impacts of seizure. But more importantly, it allows those ships to come to berth and have that cargo discharge. The other major step that they've taken is they've announced that they would be infusing between themselves and the government approximately $180 million, which would go to fund all the operations that are required to bring those ships to berth and have those containers discharged so that they can make their way through the complex and ultimately to the store shelves.
And you're mentioning that some of the folks here, the terminals, are likely going to make them prepay. So they may have had, sort of an installment plan, if you will, to pay things down over time, but now people are going to require the cash up front. What happens if the goods are unloaded and then the money runs out?
We have every confidence that Hanjin Shipping understands the severity of the issues that their decision has caused, and we believe and we're optimistic that that $200 million infusion will allow them to fund operations so that every container that was destined to the U.S. will make its way through our complex into the supply chain and to the store shelves.
Now, I mentioned coming in, the shipping companies, the public ones, were worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and we'll have to talk about that another time. Liz, right now, I'm going to send that back to you in the studio.
It's unbelievable. Please keep an eye on it. Huge, huge global story that may affect everybody who's watching right now. Robert Gray, thank you so much.